Welcome back to a special interview with the former Principal Secretary to Atal Bihari Vajpayee and former National Security Advisor Brajesh Mishra, who's speaking for the first time in public about certain critical events and decisions during the Vajpayee years, which have not only attracted attention, but considerable controversy. Mr. Mishra, during the period 2002-2003, after the American invasion of Iraq, there was a lot of speculation that the Indian government was considering sending Indian troops to Iraq. And it was reported and believed that Mr. Advani, as Home Minister, was in favor of this. What exactly happened?
Well, I cannot say that Mr. Advani was in favor of it. Although I do remember the reports which had appeared at that time, or rumors and whatnot. When the matter came up to the Cabinet Committee on Security, of course there were informal discussions before the formal meeting of the committee. Mr. Vajpayee was very clear. No, we can't send troops to Iraq. And I can tell you that it is my belief that the Prime Minister would never have sent the troops to Iraq. The experience of IPKF in Sri Lanka was still fresh in the minds of us. Number two, we did not believe, we as a government, we did not believe that the action in Iraq was the correct one by the US at that time. So there was no question at all of anybody, including Mr. Advani, supporting the sending of troops to Iraq.
So despite the speculation at that time, Mr. Vajpayee was very clear that there was no question of Indian troops being sent.
I believed from the beginning that he would never agree to it.
He would never have agreed to it.
This was my belief.
Let's broaden our discussion a little. You were there right beside Mr. Vajpayee for the 6 years that he was Prime Minister. What was the nature of the relationship between Mr. Vajpayee and his Home Minister, LK Advani?
Well, that's a very difficult question to answer. They were colleagues for 40, 45 years by the time the government was formed. They were the two top leaders of the after Maulichand Sharma and others. They went out. They were the two top leaders of BJP. And they worked together very well. Of course, they had differences. Mr. Vajpayee refused to be present in Ayodhya when the Babri Masjid demonstration was going on. And you remember in Parliament he said that he regretted what had happened in Ayodhya. He had different kind of views. He was by nature. Why am I saying he was? He is by nature a man who's very liberal, who's very generous in his thoughts. You criticize him today, and suddenly tomorrow the man who has criticized him asks for a meeting and he says, okay, come and talk to me. Now there are very few people like that. And I would say that Mr. Vajpayee is a statesman, more than a politician. He is of that kind. Mr. Advani, on the other hand, was a very good organizer. And he organized the BJP. He helped Mr. Vajpayee in the organization of that. So they had worked very closely together.
By implication, you're also suggesting Mr. Advani is not a statesman.
Well, I'm not going to say that. I mean, but
there was a moment, sometime towards the end of 2002, early 2003, when Venkaiah Naidu was the party president, and it was suggested that Mr. Vajpayee should be elevated to the top office of president and Mr. Advani should take over as Prime Minister. The phrase Lok Purush, Vikash Purush was coined at that time, and Mr. Vajpayee responded by talking about na retired, na tired. What exactly happened?